We're going to start because I like to get as much time as I can in with people talking. So, how's the energy moving? I'm guessing I'm on. They're recording this, so I have to make sure I say everything nicely, you know. And that's not my trait. I usually am very funny. Actually, my Sanskrit name is Vinod, which means one who makes people laugh. And I was like, I want something cool like Shri, or, you know, something cool like G, you know, anything Sanskrit but Vinod. And the woman said, no, that's who you are. So I'm stuck with that. Anyway, first thing I'd love to know is, how many of you have done yoga before? Cool. So you're just here for a free class, right? Who's here because they want to find a way to bring yoga into their wellness in their life? Okay. So both of those things can happen. And so what I'm going to do, and I told them, you know what, leave the chairs in here because I didn't know how many people would bring mats, and I love to make yoga available to everybody. I just want to give you a quick little thing to realize. One of the things about yoga is it's been around for a very, very, very long time, older than any of us, okay? And one of the things that's interesting about it is that it keeps adapting to the world that it lives in. And right now, yoga has become mostly exercise-based, which kind of makes it hard for people that are everyday people to take the class. Does that make sense? But my teachers, teachers go back 2,000 years. In fact, Swami Kripalanandaji, who is the founder of the Kripala lineage, he was the first one to let women do yoga. People were like, you can't do that. It's like golf. No women can play. And he's like, no, yoga is for everyone. So, and that's one of the ways that our yoga is very, very, I'm going to say special, is that we adapt it to everybody. We use modifications, variations, so that no matter what, you can use it. And yoga, so let's go back to what yoga is really all about. Yoga is really all about wellness. If you just go on, you can come up and sit. It's about finding a way to bring union, yoking, bringing things together, communion, like a yolk in the middle of an egg at the core of it. So if you take all the peripheral things that you are and you start consolidating or packing them together until there is an essence, that's what yoga is about. So you've got basically three big ones that have been around since the Vedas: the mind, the body, and the spirit. And so if you bring all that together, there's wholeness or wellness. So you might say, well, right now I'm at the physical point in my life, which is our culture today, right? Exercise. And so that's where most people generally start. But other people might start at the more spiritual level. And other people might start, you know, at any point on their journey. So what we do is we continue to teach the three things that are part of classical yoga. And that is, classical yoga is about 2,000 years old. You've got the breathing exercises, the meditation. So you have the energy body, the intellectual body, or spiritual body, depending on how far you're going with that, and the physical body. So you're blending all of that together. So a lot of people are like, oh, I don't know if I can do all that. So here's what I do really well is I'm going to lead you through pieces of that so you can experience it and see how we could bring wellness into your life. Does it sound good? All right. Let me just, now that we're definitely started and it's past quarter after, I can tell you that I've been doing this for 25 years. I've been teaching classes for 25 years. And through watching and seeing and adapting and changing and figuring out what works, it makes it possible to work with anybody at any level. So that's what we're going to do. One of the first questions I ask people is, do you have any stress in your life? Of course you do, right? Do you? I mean, come on. Do you have stress? No matter what. Do you remember that show, Dharma and Greg? Do you remember that show? It was Larry. Larry had no brain at all from the hippie era. And one time someone said to him, clear your mind. He goes, done. It's not that easy, is it? It's not that easy. So the rhythm and rate of your breathing affects what's happening in your brain. So if you're anxious, right, it pulses of the cerebral spinal pulses causes a quick, we'll call it a lubrication, but it's really more like a massage, like Bugs Bunny during the Barber of Seville, you know? And remember that one? Okay, so that's what's happening, and you're like, I think I have Tourette. I'm saying things I don't mean to say. And then when you're really relaxed, like you had 4 martinis, you're going, and your breath is long and slow. Usually it's your nose, which is more parasympathetic. So if you learn to change your breath, you can change the world, because you're experiencing the world through your nervous system, through your mind. Everything that you're interpreting, like what you're interpreting right now, is causing you to have an effect. So that's just the nature of it. So if we understand the nature of our nervous system, our mental activity, and we can start interacting in it, that's what yoga does. Yoga says, you know what, we're going to become more conscious of what we're doing, and as a result, we can make choices. You may decide that I still need to do what you're doing, but you chose to do it. How many people do you know in your life that say their life is happening to them? And how few people do you know that say they're happening to their life? Right? There's a difference between duty and dharma. They may be the exact same path, but you don't have to be a victim. You know? You don't have to be a victim. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to clear your mind. Everybody can do this, but you won't be like Larry. Okay? But you'll still thinking, because that happens. If your mind stops thinking, you're pretty much a vegetable. It's what it's supposed to do. Your heart's supposed to beat. Your mind's supposed to think. Eyes are supposed to see. If you open them, you see. If you close them, you still see. These are tools. So for people to think that it would go away it just doesn't happen. However, you don't have to pay attention to it. Right? So let's say you're sitting in a room, like on a chair, and you're looking out the window at some people playing, and you're like, wow, that's really cool. I can feel the energy of these little children playing, and they're having so much fun, and they're laughing, and then little Bobby falls and skins his knees, and and you feel that because you see it. But what if you got up and walked away from the window because the phone rang? All of a sudden you have no idea what's going on out there, but it's still going on. The world is still going on, and how you process what you're doing is always continuing. So what we can do is we can focus our mind on something, and then we'll forget about the other thing. So what if you came in here with aches and pains in your back, or your leg, your knee, or something else, your tummy? And that's a reflection of how you're processing the stress in your life. Is that true for anybody? So most of the aches and pains are because of the life we live, and we're living a life because we don't think we have a choice, blah, 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 blah. What if you weren't thinking about that? Would you be free from it? What if you got up and walked away from the window? You wouldn't really care what Bobby was doing anymore, because something else would be more important. So if you focus on things that are in the moment instead of living in time, like if you're 0 and this is the past and this is the future, you could be here right now. All you're doing is breathing. And if you're breathing and you have enough food in your body that you're not starving, and you don't feel like you have to go to the bathroom, and you're not missing anything, and you'd be at peace, wouldn't you? Because deep inside all of us, in the stillness, that still point, in the great stillness that yoga talks about, there's peace. Inside each and every one of us, that's who we are, but we get all frantic, and then we tell people about it. So we keep that story going. Oh, I'm this, I'm that, I'm this, I'm that, I'm this, and that. All right, I said enough. I set up the background. Let's do it. Okay, I want to pull this chair out. Sit with your feet grounded if you can, because we have energy that moves through. If you want to kick your shoes off, you can. And you want to actually have your feet, like chair makers don't understand it. Some people's tibias are shorter than others, so some people's feet are dangling in the air. Imagine you dangling from some branches on a parachute and you can't get to the ground. How comfortable would you be, right? But if you actually came to the ground, you'd be like, I'm okay again. So that's that Maslow's hierarchy of need thing. So with your feet touching the ground, and if you can't do this at home and you're not used to sitting on the floor, you can put 2 books underneath your feet, or 3 or 4 or 5, however many you need. Hi, welcome. So what we're going to do is slide back so that you can support your spine. Now, even though the Buddha in his large body kind of didn't work on being really erect in his spine, in yoga, we look at things from a more energetic point of view rather than the mindfulness of the teachings of the Buddha, more of the tantric teachings of yoga, of awakening energy. So the spinal column, the nervous system, the energy, the nerve ganglia, when you're like this, it's a reflection of how you're feeling, you know. I'm doing good. I'm doing great. So when your energy's alive, how you sit, stand, what you do with your arms when you're talking to people, everything about your physiology is also part of yoga. So if you can support your spine and sit up tall, and then just kind of relax your shoulders. And if you're like, I don't know if this is going to work for me, no, that's a good way to bring that energy into that practice, you know. So if you close your eyes, oh no, what if someone's looking? What's happening? I don't know. But eventually you start to be okay with it. So I'm going to invite you to notice your breath. Picture a dog sleeping, and then you go, here boy, and you invite a frisbee to fly past his head. What's the dog going to do? Yeah. As soon as you become aware of something, the behavior of the relationship changes. Has your breath changed? You might be in a hurry thinking, I want to change right now, but how long did it take you to get to where you are in this moment? So with your eyes closed and your face relaxed and your spine tall and your feet grounded, your shoulders soft, has your breath started to become longer and deeper? Did just me mentioning the words longer and deeper cause you to have a longer and deeper breath? Picture a 4-year-old child playing in a sandbox. They're over there slapping the sand with a little plastic shovel and having a good time. And all of a sudden, for whatever reason, they notice that mommy's watching. And as soon as they know that their mom's watching, they change their behavior. That's the nature of what we do. We have two parts of us that's aware. We have our thinking and we have our conscience. When we become consciously aware of something, we start to choose what to do. Invite the air to go deeper into your body, all the way down below your belly button, and let it move like a wave from the belly button up into the upper belly, lower ribs, middle ribs, and all the way up until the upper lobes of your lungs fill up under the collarbones. Maybe you'll feel a little lift. You also feel an emotional response of, like completeness. And as you exhale, just let it go. Just let the air go all the way. Nice and beautiful. And continue doing this with a long, slow breath. Excuse me. And on the exhale, draw on your abdominal muscles, pull the belly button towards the spine, and you'll push out the air that's left behind. So what you're doing right now is you're working with your prana body, your energy body. You're also focusing your mind, which is a repetition of things that you do over and over again, which we call japa. And that causes concentration, and when you concentrate, you're actually meditating if you do that for a period of time. And as you continue, just a little about the science of the brain, most of us live in beta all the time, where we're constantly worried about what's happening around us, bees coming, cars shifting into our lane, things like that. And then when your brain slows down a little bit, because your breath slows down a little bit, because it's all interconnected, you move from beta to alpha. Alpha is a slower frequency, where it's more meditative, more butterfly floating around in a field kind of thing. If you hold that for long enough, the brain will slow down even more and fall into a theta frequency, where you begin to understand the collective unconscious and conscious mind. It's a lot like dream, like REM. It's very, very peaceful. If you're new to this, it may take longer than we'll spend on it to drop into that flow of a frequency. So focusing right there in the middle of your eyebrow, right there, holding your attention. We'll do this for one more minute. While you're breathing long and slow, feel the breath moving in and out. This is called Dirga Pranayama, where you're breathing a long, slow, complete breath. And if you can hold your attention on this moment, everything that was going on prior to today and it might happen tomorrow or the next day will have less and less effect on you, in the same way that if you let a balloon go, it'll just start floating higher and higher away from you up into the sky. It could be attached to you as you hold on to it desperately, but if you let go, you'll be free. Now there's many breathing exercises and many meditation techniques. There's also mantra, gazing at a candle, counting, all kinds of things. But this just gives you a good indication of how simple it could be to hold your attention in the present moment and to be free from your affliction. And when you're ready, just let your breath fall back into itself, like when a wave relaxes back into the sea. In other words, it used to be something, and then it resolves and dissolves back into itself to understand its true nature. And then loosen your neck a little bit. Let your head wobble around. Feel the weight of your own neck and your head. And then one of the times that your head moves to the side, open the eyes and bring your head back up. So usually nobody wants to say a word from this point on for the rest of the day, but how was that? Peaceful? Easy? It was only a couple of minutes. And most of the time people are like, I don't have time to feel good. I don't have time in my life. Yes. The difference is that there's like, I'm going to go through a couple of scenarios really fast. The difference is that the mouth was not designed for breathing. It was designed for eating, and it was designed for talking. The nose, however, is designed to filter air, right, the sinus cavities to warm up the air before it gets into your lungs, so it's best work for you. Nasal breathing is more parasympathetic. Oral breathing, if you do cardio work, you're actually wasting, and you can go anaerobic. You can't go anaerobic if you breathe through your nose because you can't breathe enough, so you'll either pass out or slow down. So there's a lot of reasons for it. Now, let's say, back to your question with other teachers saying that. Yoga keeps adapting, and people keep, I'm going to call it, I hope this comes across right, they keep watering it down. The original teachings of yoga, there's nothing wrong with them. However, everybody tries to do something fancy, special. We'll count, we'll do a square, we'll breathe in a circle, we'll count to 15, hold for 9. And there's all these ways to make yoga sellable, breathing practices more exciting, but the basic breath is through the nostrils all the time. It always has been through the oldest literature there is. Breathing was done through your nose. But in modern times, a lot of people have a lot of sinus problems, nasal disturbances, so what they do is they make it easier on you, and they say breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth. Eventually, and people say, well, I have a deviated septum. There's like all kinds of reasons for not breathing through your nose. The bottom line is you actually can breathe through your nose, and so you should breathe through your nose. Even exhaling. It would create a deeper experience for you. But at first, you may need to do orally. I just tell people, don't even start there. Start with learning to breathe through your nose. When you're feeling like you don't have enough air, if you feel lightheaded, dizzy, faint, relax, breathe normally. If breathing normally means through your mouth, then you breathe through your mouth. And then when you feel like it, so you practice. Like any exercise. If I want to strengthen this muscle, I got to move it. If I want to strengthen my respiratory system, if I want to change the way I breathe, if I want a deeper, longer, fuller breath, if I want more oxygen molecule saturation in my bloodstream, then I want to practice breathing, because you can change your habitual way. Yeah. there's so many breaths. There's a breath called Shatali where you actually, it's called that which cools, and you breathe in through your tongue or teeth, and you cool off the moisture in your mouth. Close your mouth, bring the tongue up to the palate, hold it there for 3 or 4 seconds as it cools the interior of your head. Breathe out through your nose so it works like a radiator. These are farther along practices than we need to look at, but yoga's been around for 6,000 years, and you don't think these people haven't mastered it, you know? So I love it when someone goes, we got a new breath. Really? What planet did that come from? Where did you learn it, you know? So, questions, anything about the breathing? You said you felt really peaceful. Is that new? You like peaceful? Yeah. But is it new to be peaceful? Yeah, cool. So there's simple things that anybody can do, and you can do it anywhere at all, you know? And we have a lot of those breaths. But the whole thing behind the mind, about the brain slowing down, does that make sense? So when we do exercises in yoga, we usually do them in a more mindful way, so you become more conscious of it, so that you can move in a safer way and everything. So I figured the chairs would be good, again, because of the floor situation. How many people don't have a mat? Show me. Okay. So we're just going to forget the whole mat experience. We'll do it standing up, and then we'll do a relaxation sitting in a chair because we can adapt to anything. So go ahead and stand up. Excuse me. And let's just take a moment to slide all the chairs over towards the wall on your left or right. Leave the middle of the floor open. And one of the prerequisites for us doing this was to clean the floor really good. So if you're willing to take your shoes off, or even socks, the floor is kind of cold because that's the nature of what happens in concrete, but you're welcome to join me. And then just fill in, okay? Don't worry about staying on the edges. You're like, oh, it's okay. We're going to do this really easily, but the body basically moves. I talk really fast so I can get more in. The body basically moves in 6 directions only: forward and backwards, left and right, clockwise and counterclockwise. Then you start adding things like to the right and use an arm and a leg and a finger, right? So you can keep adding to poses. There's said to be 840,000 poses, but there's only 6 ways you can move. So what we do is we only add to the movement so that you can feel something. So if you're really flexible, if you're used to working at Cirque du Soleil, and you've been like hanging out doing stuff all day, you're going to have to go farther, so we need to have the language to help you feel something so you can get into your physiology. Whereas you may be really stiff, and when you come forward, you're like, yeah, I'm having a deep enough experience right here. So that's the nature of how yoga can be so adaptive. So let's just start with some simple things, like sweeping. Okay, stagger a little bit. Make sure you can go like this without bumping into anybody. You can alternate stagger. All right, so this is just called sun breath. Lower the arms. You're like, where should I go? Come closer. There you go. Inhale the arms up, and exhale and bring them down. And then start to do this repetitively, and think of this as an opportunity to coordinate your body and your breath. And what's happening is you're also coordinating your mind. Now, everybody can do this, but as you do this, I'm going to keep animating what you're doing. So slow it down. See if you can breathe through your nose. And notice what's happening here, because everybody's humerus moves or articulates differently in this area here with the chromium process. And if it may feel better to bring your arms up forward so that you don't bump into anything, or maybe you like the sweeping, but you're breathing, you're finding your body, you're saying, you know what, I am enough. Nobody can take that away from me. My friends can try, but you know what, you're enough, aren't you? You have to believe that. Good. Exhale and bring the arms down around behind you, and let the hands find each other like two friends. Interlace the fingers and just let the arms rest. And then we'll do a little Mae West move. Roll your shoulders one at a time and think, come on up and see me sometime. And just roll back and before. See, yoga's fun, right? But you're loosening your shoulders. Can you feel the scapula going like this on your back? This free-floating bone inside your shoulder muscles? And a lot of times people have tension or respiratory problems here. So the muscles that lay over the rib cage, mostly the pectoral muscles, we're going to call them, the pectoris minors and majors, and then we also have these little muscles in here that are part of the rotators that block things, and you're like, you know what, I can't breathe too well, my life is really bad. So as you loosen this up in a soft way, it prepares you for postures. Every pose is a physiological experience. So let's hold with both shoulders back and see if you can squeeze those shoulder blades in. And you know what? Wherever you go is enough for me. Okay? It doesn't matter. You can't win. You're not going to get a gold bindi when you leave. You're like, oh, I was the best one in the whole presentation. And we're just going to roll forward. But let the movement come from your hips, your hip flexors. You're going to have to slowly let your body move. So you feel the stretch coming out the back of the legs. You feel the hips flexing. You feel your glutes lengthening. You feel a little pull in your back, erector spinae. So there's like a lot of muscles involved in gravitational effects. So there's some eccentric contraction going on that's slowly allowing you to come down in gravity. Good. So we're going to stay really passive, but this is like a gentle yoga mudra pose. Bend the knees. We haven't done this yet. We haven't prepared the knees. Look at your feet. Adjust your feet more parallel than anything else, which may be a little bit awkward depending on what happens with your knee joint or your hip or your rotator. And then notice if you bend and straighten your knees with micro movements, if you can get them to move in the direction of forward and backwards instead of slightly out or slightly in. No buckling and no bowing. And then let the knees be soft and the feet flat. And then see if you can follow along with me. We're going to use the breath. Take in a breath, exhale, drop the arms, roll the thumbs forward, and inhale all the way up to standing. And then exhale, big breath, arms coming down, close your eyes, and just notice how you feel. Yoga is that simple. We could make it hard, but it doesn't need to be. Let's open the eyes again. So feet, knees, hips. Most people, the knee is one of the biggest injured things on people's body. So if, and I know you can't all see my knee, but if you can line your feet up pretty much parallel, there's some ankle things and some condyle joint things going on and injuries in the past and stuff, but see if you can get the knees to bend in the same direction of the toes. So if you can't, then you could train these muscles. I tore my meniscus in my knee, and my doctor says, you know what, if you can do this without repairing it, if you can actually recover from it when the inflammation goes away, I wouldn't do surgery unless you're saying, you know what, honey, I don't want to go today because my knee hurts. Well, I started doing just this, and I did a lot of other stuff. But I rehabbed my own knee, and they feel great. So hold right in a gentle position, and imagine that you're squeezing like a phone book in between your your knees, because a phone book used to be about that big, but now it's on your phone. Anyway, so you're adducting, so you're using the inner thigh muscles, and if you use the glutes, which are primarily part of how you rotate externally, you can tighten up this area. Tilt your tailbone back and up in the air, lifting it up like a flap on the old style pajamas when you were a kid, right? So that's the erector spinae, and that's the curve that you need in your back. Otherwise, you have a risk of injury and causing some kind of herniation. And then if you want, hands on your legs, this is standing squat, or the arms out in front. You pull the shoulders back. You can press up to the crown of your head like you're sitting down and getting tall. And then come down until it's interesting. Come up until it goes away. And just experience what it's like to be in Utkatasana, the standing squat. Great muscle builder for skiers, rollerbladers, anybody who's really on their legs a lot. All right, taking a breath. Anywhere you are, exhale, drop the arms. And then when they come forward again, roll the thumbs up in the air. And exhale this time, eyes open, and just let the arms float back down. So you can feel it in your legs, right? And it's doable for anybody at any age. Anybody can do that. So some people will be like, whoosh, whoosh. And some people will be like, but eventually it gets better. Anything you do changes the nature of what you do. So we'll do a couple other things. If you bring one hand to your hip, it doesn't matter which one. And we'll swing the other arm up in the air. Do you have a question? And then just this hand on your hip, glide your hips over to the side and take that hand and reach it the other way. Feel the stretch moving down the outside of your body. So whether it's the right or the left, then you feel the stretch through the ribs, intercostals, the obliques. You feel where the intestines are underneath. This is really good. If you go one side then the other, it kind of helps tone the internal organs in there, and it's really good for reducing the symptoms of after. Anyway, we're not going to get too technical, but if you have Crohn's disease or intestinal problems, this is really good, but not when they're inflamed. Inhale up. That's a long time. If you're new to yoga, you're like, really, that was really long. Exhale down. Other hand up, and push the hip over to the other side and just lean into it. This time we'll add a little more detail of what you can do. If it's your left arm up in the air, the weight's on your right foot. If it's your right arm up in the air, I bet your weight's on your left foot. Push the right foot down and see how that intensifies the stretch. And reach through the fingers and keep your ears in line with your arms so that you don't have any neck things going on so you look like this. See, all yoga should be easy. Inhale, come right back up. Bring the hands both onto your hips, and then use your hands to actually tilt and hinge from the hips and roll forward into like a jackknife position. Let the hands find the front of your legs and slide down like you're going down a hill and you're using the brakes. When it feels uncomfortable, stop with your hands. If it doesn't end up being uncomfortable, keep coming down until you're in your full, relaxed, gravitational position. This is called ragdoll until you add to it. If you add to it, it's called uttanasana or padahasana, where you pull and become intense and deliberate. If you would like to do that, use your hands either under your toes, on your feet, your ankles, your shins, or your knees. Taking a breath. Exhale, drop your head, lift your tailbone, and breathe deeply. One more big breath. And then relax. Drop the arms again. Let them hang. Soften the knees. There's your mountain. There's your standing squat. Swing the arms backwards, and as they come forward, inhale, roll the thumbs up in the air. Let momentum and personality bring you up. Exhale, the arms back down. Beautiful. There's so many cool things. We'll just do a few postures so that you can feel how simple it could be. So watch your spacing. See if you can step out a little bit wide without stepping on someone else. It's kind of like dancing. You don't want to step on someone else's feet. We're going to all turn the right foot out 90 degrees without a protractor. Okay? So your right foot turned out, that's an external rotation. Play with what you feel here. Bend your right knee and straighten it a few times. If your knee, I know you can't all see this, but if your knee collapses, medially collapsing, that's a strain. So adjust how your right foot is so you can have good alignment. And then hold with the knee over the ankle, left hand on your left hip, and spin your left foot in and out and find what works best for your back. You can actually release some of the pressure in the back or where the femur comes into your hip socket, or make more space for sensitivity and sciatic nerve or anything like that, right? Okay, so now right knee's over the ankle. This is very structural for less ligamental strain, maximum compression, straight down, which is the best way to create more bone density and mass in your life. If you're willing, sweep your arms up out to the side. Your body faces forward, but you turn your head to look to the right. And if you like, roll your right arm so the thumb is up. So you have an external rotation on your right leg, your right arm. If you press your left foot down, your body can come up taller. And with both feet pressing down, lift up out of the waist. Look at the right hand. Press the crown of your head up. This is called Warrior Two. We're just going to transition real quick because some of you are very new. Right hand coming down on your knee, left hand up in the air, turn and look up. That sweeping motion is great for your spine. This is triangle. You can do it with the right knee straight, and you can do it with the right knee bent. And You can bend the right knee again, so we're all doing the same thing. Inhale, right back up. Exhale, left hand down, cartwheel the right arm up, turn and look up. This is an exalted warrior. So now we've experienced some forward and backward, and we've experienced some side stretching. Come back up, arms out to the side. Exhale, both down. Slowly straighten the right leg, turn the right foot in. I'm going to speed up my language, but not the time. Left foot out because you know what to do. And bend and straighten the left knee 2 or 3 times. Adjust your alignment. Each knee is different. Adjust your right foot. Hold the left knee over the ankle. Find what works for your back, your hip. Everybody's different. And then the arms up. Press that right foot down. Tailbone tucked, left foot down, up out of the waist. These are called press points, so you can be more active and anatomically involved. Right palm facing down, left arm, thumb up. Shoulder blades squeezing, collarbones lifting, crown pressing up like someone's touching on the top of your head. Great job. Now we're going to just lower the left hand on the left leg, right hand up in the air, and look up. Usually you turn the palm on the upward arm forward, so that right shoulder blade can press back. Again, everybody's different. If you just briefly look around the room, we've got about 20 different versions of this going on. And everybody's doing fine as long as you can breathe and you can still remember your name. Straighten your left leg if you want. Come down deeper into this beautiful stretch, Trikonasana. And then inhale back to bent knee and sweep the arm down, other one up. Crescent warrior, exalted warrior. It's just a beautiful little flow. This is very common in some flow classes. And then back up to 5-pointed star arms. Lower the arms. Turn the left foot back in. Walk the left foot heel and toe. So you can step back together. And you're probably thinking, wow, I felt a lot. Good. Hands on your legs. Let's use the brakes. Come on down. You're the next contestant on Who Wants to Feel Good. Relax. Soften the knees. Are your hamstrings the problem? Are they keeping you from enjoying coming forward? And again, is it your knees? Do they buckle or go? What about your head? Are you afraid to let it go, like maybe everything in it would fall out? Just relax and breathe into the goodness that you are. And then softly inhale back up. Either way. Arms up and down again. All right, let's grab the chairs. Sit anywhere you want. Time is of the essence. We have a half an hour relaxation to do in 3 minutes. We still have to twist. We haven't experienced the twisting yet. Sit anywhere you want. How we doing?
Good.
Yeah? Good. So we're going to twist from a chair. Absolutely the most advantageous situation to twist from. A lot of people have a hard time getting on the floor at a certain point in their life, and then because they stop doing it, it becomes harder and harder and harder. And then, for whatever reason, if you have a child and you have to be on the floor a lot, it gets easy again. If you stopped having children, that joy never comes again, you know? So chairs everyone has. We're a chair culture. They all usually have a back. You can take your right hand and grab the back of your chair. And take your left hand and grab your right leg. And if you sit up tall, you can easily turn your body. Hey, I could do this at work. I could do it in the car. I could even back a car up like this. Huh. What a thought that would be, right? So turning to the right with your head. Breathe in, lift up out of the waist, press through the crown of your head. Exhale, turn your belly button to the right. Feel your obliques twist your rib cage around. Good. Now hold there for 2 more deep breaths. On the next exhale, turn your head and your right shoulder a little bit further and even your eyes. So there's your twist. Slowly come back to the front. If holding the back of the chair with a challenge or you have a specific chair situation, we'll do it differently on this side. 2 hands on the left leg. 2 hands on the left leg, sitting up tall. If the left hand can easily reach back and grab that chair, go for it. This is how you decide if something is going to work for you. Breathe in, lift up. Exhale, turn your belly button around to the left. Let your head follow. Take 2 more breaths, breathing in, lifting up. Exhale, turning a little bit more. This hydrates the vertebra, brings resilience back in from the possibility of excessive forward, backwards, or left, right movement. Twisting is one of the most delicious parts of yoga. Let's come back again. Hands on your legs. Sit back, ground those feet, close your eyes. And just notice how you feel. And a very user-friendly, anybody can do yoga. You have to decide when you're exploring where to go or who your teachers may be or what books you're using or videos or online. Is this the right yoga for you? Like when you pick a doctor, you might experiment with several before you find the one that really resonates with you, understands you. The diversity of yoga is incredible. So even though I'm going to talk like a commercial, just relax the shoulders, all the muscles that are holding your bones in place, your neck, or any other place that you might feel in your body. I usually do this for 15 minutes in our class on the floor. Our classes are delicious because of the length of time that we bring them in. I'm going to invite you to try a little contraction and release, a whole body contraction and release. I'm going to open my eyes, but keep yours closed so I can see how you're doing. Like a bird grabbing a branch, tuck your toes right underneath and arch your feet. Feel the arches come up and the muscles tighten, the lengthening on the top of the feet. Tilt your feet towards each other, let your knees roll away from each other like 2 puppets talking. The feet are the 2 puppets. Tighten the quadricep muscles, push your sitting bones down, tighten everything that you can. Bring your fingers in and make fists, cock the wrist, engage the forearms, bend the biceps, or the elbows to tighten your biceps. Pull your arms into your body and hold tight like you're squeezing a sponge. Tighten up your chest muscles, back muscles, neck muscles, jaw muscles without smacking your teeth together. Squeeze as hard as you can, like you're so mad, like a little boy who's very, very, very mad, says, I want to hold my breath forever. Squeeze. 1 big breath right here. Ready, release. And just let the arms float back down and the feet come back to grounded. They can be wide now if you want. And just notice how the circulation moves through your body. Most people don't know how to relax. So yoga is a great tool to learn how to relax because you have what is and what isn't relaxed. You have a reference point so you can learn from it. You ever met anybody who is really tense and you're like, dude, you got to relax. And they go, oh, I am. They don't know how. They don't know how. So you learn. Yoga is not necessarily what most people think it is. In its essence, it's a chance to remember what you forgot. We've forgotten how to be peaceful. We've forgotten that the very basics of the teachings of classical yoga are yogaha chitta vritti niyodraha. Yoga is the mind settling into stillness. When you're not living in your mind, you're living fully. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. So when you're ready, let your eyes open again. How you doing? Don't you wish you had 2 hours of this? I know. I'm available for the rest of the day, literally. I'm here till 7. So if you want, you can go home and come back and talk to me. There's so much I would love to tell you how we make yoga where I am at Infinite Light Center, which is my place. We have an amazing 11,000 square foot facility. We have everything you could possibly need there to make your experience wonderful. We have gentle classes. We have chairs for people who need them. We have yoga tone. We have yoga with Pilates. We have all level classes, gentle classes. We take care of you really, really well and help you with what you need. That's what we do. That's what my specialty is. And all the people that work there were trained by me. So I'm right out here if you want. I've got these postcards right here. And they actually have come and take a free class, but anybody can. This is just like a advertising ploy so that you'll go, oh, I have a free class coming. And so maybe you'll come. But if you've never been to our place, come and enjoy yourself, see what you think, go on our website, anything that you like. Okay? In Janesville, right in the town square where the train station was back when it was Mayberry RFD. Remember? It's what Janesville's like. It's this big. It's the size of a buffalo nickel. You go over the railroad tracks, that's the plaza. One gas station, one post office, one bank, and now one yoga center. So we're behind the bank. But we got to clear out of here so the next person has the time to talk to me as much as you want.